A. I'm going to call the John Day Urban Renewal Board meeting. Tuesday, January 25th, 2025 to order. February. Yeah, February 25th to order. That's different. Roll call. We're on here except for Eric, who's excused, and Chris, we haven't heard from.
Thank you, Mary. So you'll recall back in April, council alerted to our URA fund being in a deficit balance, and shortly after in May, we held a meeting and suspended the incentive program for everyone that was not included in those 3 development agreement areas. Recall, this is just a formalization background an update about where the URA is and a confirmation vote to continue that suspension if there have been removal or. So has more information regarding that.
So if you recall, budget time, we discovered or realized that the deficit fund balance of the URA, so we have negative $819,000 in there. That's what we started the year with. And so we didn't say, hey, what do we expect for incentives and costs? That's not what we did. We took that negative 819. We added the maximum loan we could possibly get from the state of Oregon of $925,000. And we said, well, we're gonna get on 90,000 property tax. So the difference to get this thing back to 0 was that we could spend $198,000 on development incentives and other costs for operating the urban renewal agency. We've already spent $162,000 of that $198,000 this year on development incentives, legal fees, and other things. So we have 18% of that remaining and 42% of the year remaining. It's not a real great picture, and we have yet to collect what we actually budgeted for in property taxes. So we're not there. I mean, we collected some, but we're not there yet. And so we're just, we also haven't gone after the loan yet because we didn't want to incur additional debt. We haven't needed it, although we may be getting to the time when we do need it now. But earlier on, we decided not to proceed with that. Council said, yes, go ahead. But we decided we didn't want to incur that interest yet. And so we've just been dragging our feet on that.
So last possible.
It's intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of interest. And so if we didn't need it, we weren't gonna move forward, but with certain delays in grant funding from federal and state agencies, we're a little more constricted on cash than we thought we'd be at this juncture. So anyway, so all that is to sum up to say we have 36,000 remaining to spend this year. And we have massive obligations that Melissa has mentioned that are completely unknown and unmeasurable.
Okay.
Where's that 36,000 in the budgetary report? Is that the materials and services?
Yeah. Yeah, material services. That's really all we have. There's no ways for your emergency.
So I guess, is there a way to know what we've already given out and who we've given it to, and who still has what obligations we still have to push forward?
That's the problem. We don't, the development arrangement is a set calculation, but we have no idea what the ending values are gonna be. We don't know what the starting values are gonna be. We don't know when those transactions are gonna complete. There's just no way to know.
There's nothing in the contract with these 3 entities that we can.
7% of the appreciation in build value. What's that gonna be?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
So we have no way of projecting when we have $991,000 in the account remaining.
That's the revenue side you're looking at.
Oh.
We have yet to collect 991,000 revenue. We only have 36,000 left to spend this year. To bring it back to zero, bring us back to break even.
So that's of $900,000 that we've already taken out in one.
We have not taken the loan out yet. The city is floating the URA that money out. We have not taken a loan from a third party yet to recoup those funds.
We budgeted it, take the budget.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've taken the first half, so
Yeah.
we've already spent 900.
Well, plus.
yeah, it's included in the negative $819,000 balance.
Where's that?
You can't see that. That's in the budget. That's in the budget. It's not in the.
It's not in your financials, it's in the actual budget document.
That's my long speech.
And, but there's no way that we can ever come to a conclusion. So. So last year we spent $185,000.
This is.
I don't have the budget. I have it. And we're suspended, but we still gotta pay these guys.
Yeah, so everything else about the URA with all the incentive program for the rest of the city or the rest of the URA area would be suspended. Or is on, it is now, we're just asking you to reiterate that. Except for we are obligated for those 3 development agreements. So those 3 developers or development agreements, we are obligated to do the housing incentive and the SDCs.
So we've already paid, the Ridge $750,000 for all the improvements that been done up there.
We actually paid them more than that. Because we started the 750, the way the contract was written at the time of signing it started, so we had already given them like 26,000 before that. So yeah, it's like 800,000 in development incentive, and then they also get the housing incentive and the SDCs paid for by the URA to the city.
So we still could be in talk to them.
We are, and yeah, we are, not could be, we are.
Okay, so that $800,000. So then what about how much money will we pay then?
They got 750,000.
How is that not, that doesn't add up to $900,000?
It's 1.8 million. So if you have Holstrom's, Ironwood, and the Ridge, all 3 together, what we gave them in development incentives was 1.8 million. But they got on top of their development agreements, the incentive programs and stuff, that's like Rob said, we can't calculate that yet. So we don't know what that's gonna be. We know the SDC is about what they'll be because you know,
But what my understanding was, I guess maybe I'm just understanding this, is that we were authorized to take 1.8 million in loan. We took 900,000, and now we're turning around and we're gonna take another 900,000, which adds up to 1.8. But what you're telling me is we've already paid Ridge 800. And then we paid Ironwood 750. Where did that money come from?
The city loaned the URA.
So we're basically, that's the 800,000 that we're in the hole.
Negative 800,000.
And Oldstrom's, how much did we pay them?
350,000. But we're obligated under them to pay their SDC housing and build a road,
Which we haven't,
which we haven't.
and we've got to build the road on Ironwood.
No, I don't know about that.
That was my understanding. That was a portion of what was supposed to be done down to Patterson.
No, I don't believe so. But I'll look at it, I mean, I'll check.
Wow. Oh, we did not require any of these people to to be linking to you. Especially on iron.
Yeah, yeah, and we can talk about that,
So realistically, we could be. How are we gonna pay the 800,000 of grand hole?
good question.
I mean, according to the plan, the projection, it should take somewhere between 3 and 5 years from now to get to where we're covering the debt service on the existing debt. Again, we just don't know what those incentives are. So it's just a question mark at this juncture for additional costs and how we're gonna make that.
How many houses do we have to build to cover that cost? How
I
many?
think more than we're gonna get. Realistic. The average, so if we paid out in incentives, the average was about 20,000,
Yeah.
15,000.
300,000.
Because I remember
So-
our per year agreement on the forecasted out was like $62,000 for like about 3 years, and then it jumps in the end all is like 92,000. And if we're, we have one house and it's an even sold. Yes, it is.
Yeah, so if you have, like Rob said, we can't predict. So right now, we're getting about 95,000 in URA in it. If we get 95,000 this year, we'll get 95,000, and we're still in the hole, and if we take out the other 900,000 of the loan, our payments are gonna be 120,000. And then we have SDCs and those incentives we're still paying out, so we're kind of in this loop, and it's gonna be like that, probably like Rob said, for about 3 to 5 years, but we're gonna have this loop of just.
So
the URA.
we understand this. Realistically, the URA is, not 1.8 million. That's set up by the original, workings of the URA. Actually, the URA is now about 2.6 or more, probably more like 2.7. And we don't have, all we have is 1.8 million that's covering it.
No, I think.
Because what I'm seeing is that those numbers don't match up. That the amount of money that's supposed to be coming back into the coffers by property taxes is actually higher than what was forecasted. Because that forecast was for just the 1.8 million. It was not forecasted for 2.7 or 2.6.
Right, so the original plan, as it was set up, the original plan with the housing incentive was fine and would have probably penciled out. Giving incentives for new houses, remodels, and the SDCs would have penciled, probably would have been fine. However, when we took out the 1.8. And we borrowed 1.8 as a city to give to the urban renewal to give to the developers as incentive to build. That's kind of where we went around.
Well, we understand this, though. When the URA was set up. And the original amount of money was allocated for the URA was 1.8.
No, yeah, because you don't have allocation, it's what you're taxing.
Well, no, so you went out and so you set up the URA and you basically said, we have an open checkbook.
No,
Because
no.
no, that's what it is. Because if you look at it, we're well over 1.8 million dollars. We're
The URA has a set statutory borrowing power. The city borrowed on behalf of the URA. So the city borrowed, gave it to the URA, so it's the city on the hook for a lot of it, it's just the circle of the URA paying back the city, which has to pay the URA.
So what does the contract say,
Which contract?
the URA contract? Or what is the contracts? I mean,
Oh,
I'm trying to wrap my mind around this, is that, you know, I came from, construction, engineering firm, and I'm sorry to tell you, but nobody pays for development fees. And usually, if a developer comes in and does something, they're paying for the extra costs to hook up to the extra streets and are required to do that extra work that's needed to make sure your arterials and your underground are done properly and hooked up to other things. And now what I'm seeing is that it seems very, like someone, just I'll go on record to say this is the boondoggle, that somebody is getting a heck of a lot of money and their hand should be slapped up in pretty extensively, and they shouldn't be getting any more money. Because there should be a limit that we pay out. And I don't agree with going over 1.8. That's our loan. And now we're spending 2.6.
Yeah, and I understand. Unfortunately, legally, we are under that contract and required to, so that's gets back to the heart of this discussion and this,
Well,
what we want you to.
Maybe what we should do is we need to go back and renegotiate that contract. And say, look, I'm sorry, but your contract is not to the betterment of this city. I know it's not something that's gonna happen, but you know what? We need to stand up and make our stance on this. Because the city, how's the city gonna, how are we gonna run this city $800,000 in the hole and possibly more? We have people out there that are, they got, all they're doing is building a house. They're not paying.
Um,
That's, I mean, that is grand larceny.
I understand. Counselor, or URA board member Hale, here doesn't make it help your frustration. It doesn't make the conversation easier, but, hopefully for budget, we are gonna try to bring you a workshop and we'll try to show you some details about what's going on. Doesn't make it better, doesn't make it less frustrating, but, this is where we are as a city and what obligations we're under. So, we're just asking the board tonight to just reiterate that suspension and make a motion and, we'll try to answer your questions or get you graphics or whatever you need.
Well, I don't understand what the suspension is gonna do.
The suspension keeps all other incentives beside the just the three development agreements that were obligated. The suspension keeps all other houses from coming in and getting that incentive. And the USDA's, or the SDC paid for.
So what I would suggest is that the URA go away.
We
And,
can't.
and we have our contracts that we have to abide by with these three entities. But I myself feel that the URA needs to just be defunct and not suspended.
Well,
It's done. We have to do our contracts with people that we're dealing with. But, you know, because what that suggests is that we're still open. And that means that the city, how's the city gonna afford anything?
so we have, how are you gonna pay that loan back if you don't have the tax increment coming in? We have to keep that URA tax money coming in, otherwise your general funded city. No, not if you do away with the URA. Then you don't get that tax increment. What you're doing now is suspending, what you're doing now is talking about the same thing. Except we need that tax increment to keep coming in so we can pay for that loan payment and these incentives we're obligated.
So we can just do IGA with the county and say, whatever those taxes are coming off, we have an agreement with you.
That's the URA, that's what it is.
I understand that, but say, we do an IGA and an intergovernmental agreement with them. And all that we do is we roll what's in the URA into that. And then we just go, no,
It's the same effect. Your URA stays open and you keep that tax increment coming,
but
It's
it
gonna
makes us
raise.
look bad.
gonna go up. I mean, even, it's not looking bad either way. What you're looking like is we're trying to pay down the URA and pay our incentives that we're obligated under, and you're trying not to let your general fund go broke subsidizing it. Which is what will happen if you do away with it, because we're in debt. And I don't think a URA debt can actually go away anyway, so.
Somebody's put us in debt pretty extensively.
I guess I'm just seeing that the city is subsidizing the URA and it's all connected, which seems like it should be separate.
Well,
But it never got a contract made
I mean,
with people. The URA should say, look, when your SDCs come up and things come up, we'll pay a certain percent.
unfortunately, and we're the ones that are gonna have to figure this out. And we're gonna have to do something about it. So the best thing that we can do at this point is just suspend the program. Continue to step for contracts that are currently open
So
and not, and once that is all settled and done.
is the Sheedy property also
No,
underneath
no,
this?
no.
Just these three.
No,
No, not under the URA.
no, just the three and the,
I thought it was my understanding that he got
No.
money with URA.
he got money around Main Street, he got grant. And he got he got R3 money, I think, too.
Well, if I was a citizen of this fine city of John Day, I'd be asking how much money is going to all these groups. And accountability should be upfront and in each. And then when those other things come, the people of John Day need to see what's going on and see who's pulling this money out of us. Because somebody needs to, they need to be hit. I don't care if they are somebody that's, you know, does a lot in this community. And my ire is not towards you.
I understand.
My ire is that
Yeah,
this is going on.
Yeah.
It was just a bad deal. Well, it's just a bad deal.
I've heard of that deal.
It's a very bad deal and we were handed this,
I understand.
but I then we gotta figure out how we're gonna see daylight again.
But how are you gonna come up, how's this city gonna come up with 800?
It's gonna take a long time. It is going to take a very long time.
Well, no, but what it's gonna do is it's going to come on the backs of the citizens of John Day. And there are a lot of people in this town that will not be able to afford it. And, you know, we talk about growth in this town. But you're gonna see people leave this town. Because of what's going on. And there are certain people that aren't gonna feel the brunt of it. And that to me is disgusting.
I more than feel your frustration, Brad. I really do. But unfortunately, at this particular point, there is not much we can do about it.
At least there was legally $8.
Well, we're
Ready for discussion.
just still wondering, you know, is there any way to unwind the city and the URA to keep things more separate and accountable from here and
they're not, well, they are separate, it's just there's loans, the 1.8 million the city took out. That was, the city took out the loan and gave it to the URA to have fun. So, not, I mean, like I said, it's a circular thing. Rob might be able to explain it in much better eloquent terms than I can, but, they are two separate entities. It's just you've got a loan taken out from the city to the URA, and then we have another one. There's the funds that loan money to the URA.
Loan type in the,
Yeah,
because the loan is not done in the name of the URA, but it is secured by the assets created through the incentive payments in the URA. And so you've got this 1.8 million coming to the city, secured by a separate legal entity's assets, which is the URA. And so that's why we put the money from the general fund and loaned it back to the URA so that it can repay the debt that it already borrowed from the city. And the only, as Melissa said earlier, the only source of funding to repay that loan are the tax increment payments through the URA. So y'all are married. There's no divorce decree here. It's married until this thing winds itself out. As I've said, I think based on the projection, assuming reasonable growth, it will pay for itself. It just takes a lot of time and it's going to cause a pinch point in that 3 to 5 year time frame from today.
What question, how much, why do you say 3 to 5?
Because that's what the projection says. The projection was done originally, and we are so far ahead of projection on the tax.
So we've paid more than what we were supposed to do.
We've received more revenue than was originally projected.
so we're assuming at some point we're
So
going,
what was our revenue this year that we received?
we're expecting 95.
Yeah,
That's
we budgeted for 95, and last year was like 75.
But that's only on the 1.8.
no, that's tax increment going into the URA.
I understand that, but we have a loan for 1.8.
Technically.
And so then,
Yes,
so then we're in the city's in the red, another 8.
I don't know where you're getting the 8.
You showed me that
Oh, the URA budget
Oh.
brought it out in
But
-800.
that includes some of that
Loan.
1.8 that's already.
Yeah.
expended.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. Okay, so we took out 900. We paid 800,000 to the ridge. Then we turned around and paid 800,000 to Ironwood. Right there, that's 1.6.
Yeah, I think we're including 2 years.
Okay, so then you've got Holstrom, which is another 300. So that pushes us to 1.9. And you're saying we're not done.
Yeah, so we're talking too many variables here. So we started out the year with a negative 800,000 in the hole, right? We also borrowed 900,000, which is included. So don't take the 1.8 and add it to the 800,000, rather take the 900,000 and add it to the 800,000, which gets us pretty darn close to the 1.8. Now, there were incentive payments that were paid outside of that.
Okay, but you're talking about taking another 900.
But that's added into your
It's
800
adding back.
deficit.
It's gonna bring that deficit back.
Deficit back, we'll have a workshop and we'll map this out for you and draw it out, and so you can, or come into my office and we'll do it. But yes, we'll do the flow chart, we'll do whatever you need.
It just, that's not, I mean.
Really?
Those numbers. I mean, I'm not the greatest number guy, but the numbers don't seem to add up. And this is like, I would have thought there would have been a stipulation within the URA about what the city was on the hook for right out the gate. That we wouldn't go over this amount, and this is what we would do. Now it looks as though what it did was it was like a snowball. And that snowball is totally out of control. And you're saying that we got 95 and we were supposed to be like 62.
No, what he's saying
I
is,
don't understand where we're getting the 95 from when we've only built one house.
the 95 is from all of the URA houses are being taxed, just like a district tax, like the fire district or the Parks and Rec. There's a tax on the URA district, so all the houses in that district get paid a tax. that tax equals 95,000.
So what we've done is we just put it on the backs of the citizens.
Well, when the URA was set up, that's what URAs are, and it's a. URAs go in and they actually.
But
They
that's not what.
stop the tax, it's, I've got to explain this off the top of my head now. URAs go in and what they do is they stop the tax and then the tax increase gets put into the URA. So the URA gets anything increased for taxes that year. So if your house was worth $5, that's what that's what everybody sees and goes into the taxes. If they raise it up $10, the $5 goes into the URA. I'm thinking this, if I'm doing this correctly off the top of my head. So that $5 goes into the URA. So all those taxes are stopped and froze at that level for everybody. But the URA gets the overage, whatever that comes. So all the people are being taxed.
That even makes the deception worse, because we're already making people pay. And
But that's the same thing. But they would pay that
Then
to the rest of the taxes and the fire district and all that anyway, because that's what it appraises at, so. That's why,
if you have URA, then your taxes probably wouldn't go up.
no, they would go up, it's still working, it's still appraised at that $10, not $5, but now it would go down all the other taxing.
you're borrowing from other taxing districts, not from the citizen. The citizen is going to be paying the same tax whether it's you or.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's,
It is true. I will do what you already want to but,
Show,
Yes.
is it all straightened out? I think the hammer and
Need a motion.
Yeah.
yes.
I'd like to make the motion that we continue the definite suspension of the URA.
Motion by Ron, a second by Heather. All those in favor? Okay, Brad opposed. Chris, I didn't hear you.
he said,
You said yes, okay. I'm going to, unless there's anything further, which I'm afraid to ask, I'm going to adjourn the URA board meeting. And move on to our city council meeting. I'm going to call the regular John Day City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Would you all please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the people of the States, one nation, indivisible, with justice for all. In roll call, we are all present except for Eric and you are excused. I'm going to open it up to, are there any amendments or does anybody want to make an motion to accept the regular agenda? Yes.
Question. I believe you said at our last meeting, we have audit tonight. I don't see it on the agenda.
Chris, we said that it could be.
Oh, that it would be completed in February?
Yes.
Yeah, I can talk about that under our,
Just want to make sure.
my update, yeah, they hit a couple snags, so. You might have seen them in your guys' email, some of you, but,
Okay, so do I have a motion to accept the agenda? As
I'm motion that we accept the.
Brad makes the motion. Vern second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Okay. Public comment, please limit to 3 minutes. Public comments are an opportunity to present information or speak on an issue that is not on the agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes for each person. Visitors may state their comments and should not expect the council to engage in back and forth dialogue regarding the comments. Council may either choose to add it to a follow-up meeting or direct the city manager to follow up with the speaker. Are there any public comments this evening? Hearing none from the audience, are there any online? No one online. Moving on to the consent agenda. We have the AP from 2/11/25 and the minutes of 12/17/24 and 2/11/25. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I make a motion to accept consent agenda.
Brent makes the motion, Heather seconds. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Okay, third is one contract to the engineer.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. The city and with the council's approval went out for an RFP for a engineer of record. This would be a contract engineer that would work on all manner of things for the city. We're expecting 15 to 30 hours a month. It's pretty imperative that we have a engineer working for the city in planning. Anytime you engineer something, obviously, so we did that. We got 4 proposals. One of them didn't quite meet our RFP submission qualifications. It was basically a transportation planner and didn't feel like it was the fit that wasn't what we were looking for. We had 3 volunteer council. I sent you several emails, and we had 3 volunteer council and myself scored that the submission and Dyer Partnership came out ahead. Staff is recommending that the council go with Dyer Partnership. As you know, they are currently working on a couple of pending issues for us that we needed to hurry up and get somebody on board separately. And so they're familiar with the cities already. You have all 3 submissions in your packet.
I read through them and I think that Dyer did look really good. Very comprehensive, and they had a lot of networking that they've been doing, so that looked like it would be a really good.
I agree.
I did too.
Brad? You should approve.
I thought Dyer was the better of the options, but I thought that their stuff didn't really cover what was addressed in the overall application. And that I would a little bit more. I would like to talk about certain things, certain aspects, and I kind of did that in my overall list.
Yeah, and their contract would come back before you. And then they can also, Aaron speaking from Dyer can also be sure that probably an address. I need a motion.
We have a motion to approve a contract for the engineer.
Make a motion that Melissa move forward with a contract to bring Dyer on as our
Engineer of record.
yes.
I have a motion by Brad. Second it. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Discussion regarding costs to repair the back truck. Casey, you're up.
Standard, okay. Casey Myers, Public Works Director, City of John Day. I put out a request for council action for the repairs of the floor assembly on the backing truck the combination sewer truck we own. It's been down since the 25th of November last year. And it's a very, very important piece of equipment, especially if we have any sewer backups, any plugs, any jetting sewer, any plug lines that we need to jet, that is the only machine we have that will do that. When I found out, I was instructed to reach out to a couple of different companies for estimates. And all I could get was estimates, not quotes. I reached out to a company named Metro Quick in Radiant, Idaho, about repairing blower assembly. They do not repair blower assemblies. They do sell trucks. They do work on trucks. They've worked on our truck in the past. They do not work on the blower assembly themselves. They take them off the truck. They ship them to Leeds, Alabama. And I thought that would be a quite expensive, costly expense for the city to ship it that far and then repair it and bring it, send it back. After that, I talked to the outfit that the city of John Day bought the truck from, which is EnviroClean out of Gresham, Oregon. I have put the estimates in your packets in the request for action. One is for rebuild the old blower, which is a little bit smaller. But the two, it's the estimate that I received from them, just the 20th, this was $23,700. The estimate to go brand new blower assembly with the hydraulic motor run that assembly. The estimate for that one was $45,000, and they removed the old one and put the new one on. My public works crew has already removed the old non-working blower assembly. I made the offer to put it on our flatbed truck, all to Biggs Junction, meet the people from Gresham so they can pick it up with their crane with their shop truck, set it right on the truck, take it to Gresham and repair that blower assembly. It is a very crucial piece of equipment. The city is used in every aspect of the city. It's used in streets, storm drain, water, sewer.
You see, what guarantees do we have if they rebuild it or if we do a new one? How long is that gonna be covered for?
That's a problem I have with the warranties on both of these repairs. The warranty on the rebuild is 30 days. That's not the worst part. The warranty on a brand new blower assembly, including the hydraulic motor run, is 90 days.
Thanks.
What's the age of the truck?
The age is a 99 back on a 99 Sterling chassis.
That's for
New or used, a new blower used, so, no, a new combo truck.
Yeah.
A new combo truck runs in the range of $695.
Okay.
A used combo truck runs in the range of $300,000. That's why I opted for one of these for the council to decide on, because I know we do not have the money budgeted for a new or a used truck. What's your recommendation? My recommendation at this point is to be fix the old blower, rebuild the old blower. Take the 30 days, get that truck and working, because we are running on borrowed time right now. And
How about the truck work?
everything else on the truck works except for it's having troubles now traveling uphill. That's one of the problems with taking it to Meridian was if there's a lot of hill between here and Meridian.
Oh, what happens if you have to use it on something that's up the hill?
This company also, this Metro or EnviroClean also offers an annual run through of the truck where they check all the components and everything else. It runs $1,400 a year,
Okay,
but they check all the components to make sure that everything's working right. They send us what is not working right. They let us know what needs to be fixed. If they get it under the hood, it's an extra $800. I believe it was that was quoted on that. So that are our options at this point. In case we do have a major emergency at this point in time, which we are, I hate to say this, but we are overdue. Because some of the areas in our sewer system are a monthly clean out, a monthly jet. And
What?
sometimes they plug up every 3 months.
what is your plan if something happens before we get the equipment repaired?
My plan, if something happens before the equipment is repaired, is the public works director in Prairie City said that if I have any problems and I need their truck, he would send one of his guys over, because none of my staff is trained on their truck.
Okay,
And he would send his truck over, we could use his truck in the case of an emergency.
Okay, good. All right. Council.
It's all timeline. There is a time, the timeline, unfortunately, on both the new repair and the rebuild repair is 2 to 3 weeks. Once they get the lower in pressure.
Okay, well, glad that you got the backup
That's
plan.
better than to have it back. That's one of the reasons.
Have you reached out?
County does not hold it back in pressure. And we are, us and Prairie City are the only two cities in that have vacuum trucks. And the closest vacuum truck from there is Prineville. Baker. We really need to think about budgeting for a used, at least a newer used truck in the future.
Is this one, the age of this one, is it gonna start making diamonds?
It has been nickel and diamonds for 5 years at this point. And I don't consider $23,700 a nickel,
Well, no,
but it's a matter of time. And so I would suggest that we try to do something to correct the issues.
okay, something to take into account when you're doing the budget. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions for Casey?
I'll be line items up here. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that I have enough for the shorter, the lesser repair in my motor pool budget. I can take some from water budget because there used to be a motor pool budget in every line. And it's been put into one line item now, it's just motor pool. Repairs and motor pool.
Yeah, and it's part of larger category, material and services, which has 16,000. And what's the capital outlay? What is that? Capital outlay would not. I mean, if you bought a back truck, maybe if we bought them, we might be able to justify it. Probably this is a larger piece of equipment.
I mean, as far as capital outlay, we'd have to put it in water system improvements, elsewhere.
Capital outlay.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
There's a way to go into the sewer fund.
Do that.
That's what it's sort of seems.
It services everything, water, street, sewer, storm drain.
And it's the structure of the city is to have a shared fund where all vehicles are used in public works. And that's the motor pool, and that's where all the vehicles are. And so that's why it was mentioned.
I would rather not at this point touch the sewer fund if we can at all. Avoid it. Okay.
I talked to the maintenance person in Kansas City. They want it prepared to. We charge them if they use it.
No, for other cities, we've always used it just as a city to city agreement. Okay, I appreciate that. We've had it in Danville, on Creek, Kansas City, before Prairie City had acquired their truck, we've had it Prairie City, so it's been around the country, so she's holding more out. It's basically the gist of it.
Kansas City maintenance guy, appreciate you.
Okay. Okay.
For dollars to fund.
To refurbish.
Yes,
That's what it is. Yeah, that's it, 1,000.
I just want to get the motion. Do I have a second? Okay, Chris makes the motion, Heather seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you, Casey.
thank you for your time.
Okay, Chris, it's your next charter amendment discussion for appointed official.
I'd like to see the city, recommend a ballot measure on the May. Primary
to amend our election format. Copy. Any questions?
My attention today that, as you asked for the audit report that should have been done by now, a comment was made by the audit firm that it's been a very challenging audit so far due to the overwhelming turnover the city experienced in the myriad complex subsidies. If we do that, if we do what you're asking us to do, that means a turnover more often than we currently have. And personally, I find that our appointees are doing a great job. And I don't see why they shouldn't fulfill the full term.
I disagree, but over half of our council is appointed. And as Council Bush and I mentioned that here, it says elections have consequences. Right now, a lot of cities throughout the state, I've checked through, Baker City being one, all 7 of their board members resigned. Or were removed, and they had to be eliminated. Right now, we have 3 members that their positions will expire in, not board members, council members. And mayor will expire in 2026, and 1 council will expire in 2028. So what I'm asking is, if you want to stay on in the council, the next election, which would be November this year, we would have 4 people that would be open for. 4 people that run for election, and if they get elected, they would serve that term out. Doesn't change. If they're not elected, that other person, whoever it is, will serve out that term. So nothing's changed. Terms are still there.
And your ballot measure, even if we change the charter, that would be on the ballot, and I'd have to check that if, I think I remember that you can only do these during general elections, so don't quote me. I would check, but if you put this on as your ballot measure in May, it's not gonna take effect in time for anything. I mean, they're still up and have to run, so you're not changing, I guess the firm would be a firm view, but I'm not even sure it would take effect until the following.
No,
I'd
it
have to-
takes effect.
Does it take effect the ballot, a charter measure?
Yeah. It's 90 days and 3 days, I can.
Yeah.
Now, all I'm asking is, guys, they're doing a good job. I disagree.
Why,
The
why,
people in this community have elected officials, not appointed.
you know, the people of the community had elected officials. Elected officials stepped down or didn't come to the table. So here we are. So whether they're elected or not, you're
I'm
still.
sorry, but
Okay,
all I'm saying is, I'd like to have the people have a choice, and that's all I'm asking.
So let me, throw but so what do we, if we have that and someone gets elected and then on the day that they're supposed to take office, they step down,
It's like they hold it.
then we're stuck. And we don't, then we could at any time, I'm just saying, throw a monkey wrench into it. What if 3 people, then we're gonna be stuck for the next general election, 2 years down the road, not to replace those positions.
Either special election, primary. The next
Election, but you have to understand, I think, Chris, is that's gonna cost us money. Yeah, and right now, we don't have money.
they did not, general elections.
It's anything other than a standard election series, I don't know how our county works, but they.
and because this is part of the charter, I do not want to pick and pick at this charter, changing one thing at a time. We talked about the possibility of sitting down and going through the entire charter and looking at it and doing, if we're going to do an overhaul, let's do it right. Let's do it all at once. Let's not piecemeal this thing.
I disagree with you. I have no horse, we call it
Okay.
in the fight.
All right.
I don't care whether it's on or not, but I believe that people should have the right. And I have been told, if you don't want to do a referendum, this will be an initiative on made up. Okay,
Well, the thing I would say, Chris, is that, there was a referendum in, the November, or before the November timeframe on 3 people that were put up for, to be recalled.
so I'm
Then,
gonna,
no, it was a referendum because they shut it down and all 3 people were soundly by a 2/3 majority put into office. And to me, those 3 people were elected. And that shows exactly what people of John Day, if you can put an initiative on, go right ahead. But what I'm saying to you right now, I think it will go down to Pelly on that. And I think the system that we have is very adequate. And it goes without saying that those 3 people were put back in. And
they never voted. I voted against it.
well, I understand that, but you know what? The people that I feel want this initiative are people that were behind the recall. That's my feelings. I'll put it right out front.
So you believe that the people should not have the option?
In 2 years, they will have the option, but our terms are up.
Mine will be 4 years.
Well, that, I mean, that. This one is that, Fred.
Is that what was that?
It's not the same idea.
I just brought it for discussion.
Okay,
Asking,
well,
it's not like it's not gonna be a
yeah,
possibility.
Heather,
Just thinking that, when we were advertising for the appointments, that everyone was given an option to apply.
this is true.
Nobody,
And,
both times that there was a position open.
any to the position. So, we have what we have. Seems good to be. I would not.
That's fine. That's fine. For discussion. For discussion.
We discussed.
Take. Lewis, I'm gonna allow you to speak even though it's not public comment. Go ahead, you have something to say.
The city charter should have a double review. Rather than move forward with any proposed amendment. Because based on such a that. Amendment. The charter needs to- the pages and it is out. And it is. And then, let's not forget. Common issue with volunteer position. It may be kind of cost to volunteer. Because the cost to the city to have them. And then you gotta think about what the turn would be. Midterm voters. You would voters to kind of.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I think that if we're going to do to charter, that we should think about an advisory board that would give people an open, ability to speak out.
And we discussed that and that's where we would go. Okay. If there's no further discussion and no action to be taken on that. And I'm going to move on to the financial update.
Make a motion.
No. Yeah. If
Louis, I did try to have the charter looked at. The council said we want to do it right now. Too many things. Going on. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Financial update, Roger.
Got your sheet review right here. We've got 42% of the year remaining. So we should have about 42% of the budget remaining. And in most categories, we're good. But if you look through the general administrative services department, you can see that we have 9270. Everything's in order, same with fire. If you go down the street fund, the one that's got less than 42% remaining is revenue, which is positive. And that's because once a year we get Grant County forest receipts, which are $176,000. And so that's a one and done thing, but it eats up a significant portion of that budget right there. And then even materials and services, which is a little lower than some of the other categories, has way more than 42% remaining. We have continued to overexpend. Last time I presented, we were already overexpended in 19, and we've continued to overexpend. We budgeted for 2 months of us holding the properties. We're now held the properties for 7 months as of the date of this report. So those properties, the properties that are held in the IT fund, which are the John Day,
Cyber Mill. Seneca and John.
Okay.
Which will be under my update.
I believe we're getting close to selling those, but that's, I mean, there's your answer right there. And then on to community development, you'll also notice that we're below 42% remaining in revenue for that one. I think we're going to do better than we anticipated, especially on TLT, transit lodging taxes, which are included in that budget number. And year to date, we collect $57,600 in transit lodging tax revenue. That's where those are. We budgeted for 75, I think. Yeah, 70, 75. And I think we got 2 quarters left. We may not receive them both this year, but we have 2 applicable to us. We'll just have to see where we go. Because we did receive one in January. And so the question is, will we receive the second quarter of 2025 in July or June? Just depends on which year it is. And then debt service, and that has 1% remaining because we've made all our debt service payments. That's the community development fund holds the greenhouse debt service. And so that was budgeted pretty precisely. That's why it has 1% remaining. Moving on, just because we talked about motor pool, repairs would be included in that materials and services category, which is the third line down under motor pool fund. You can see we have 68,000 remaining in there. So if you want to go move forward with that after, which I think we did, then we got the money in there. We can also move funds out of capital outlay, which has 166,000 remaining, and we can do that by a resolution to get that into the correct category. So we should have money in the budget there. Unpaid comp fund on the next page. Unpaid comp fund has 32% remaining. And that's due to turnover. That's where we pay all of our built up PTO and things like that. We've had significant turnover and just no way to change that. Water fund, we're right on target with revenues. We have about 43% remaining of budget, 842, so we're right on target there. Everything on the expense side looks solid. The debt service, same kind of thing. We have one more debt service payment in the water fund that's interest only, and so it's fairly precisely budgeted. That's why we only have 9% remaining. And then on the sewer fund, expenses look good. There's a little bit of a difference. We're starting to come down on our cash. We've been as high as 1.2 million in cash. We have about 700,000 in operating cash right now. And the reason for that is that we've moved forward with the sewer project. And mean, I'm sure you've been listening to the
It's
media.
still my thunder.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take it right away from Melissa here. I'm sure you've seen, the federal government is having some issues, getting payments out. The state of Oregon is also having some issues getting payments out. And so those are our two sources of funding for the sewer project. And we have included in that sewer fund revenue is about 300,000 reimbursements related to the sewer project. And you can see we have about 600,000 in expenditures related to the sewer. So there's an imbalance there, which has caused us to draw down about 300,000 in existing cash, which is what's causing the impetus toward moving forward with potentially looking at that URA law.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, renewable agency, we talked about this in the renewable agency meeting, but you can see where the numbers lie. We're way ahead on expenditures, so that's unfavorable, way ahead on expenditures in your renewable agency. Now, most of that is related to $125,000 development incentive in a single payment made earlier this year. Move on to the next page. Here's the legal and professional fees detail. On legal, very little on the water. We're actually exceeded that line item budget. In sewer, we've exceeded that line item budget. Those are both related to the ongoing labor attorney that we had to hire for the issues we've had recently. IT fund, that also deals with the property sale, and so we're over on that as well. On professional services, sewer fund is over. A lot of that is related to various grant administration type items. And then the IT fund is again, just ongoing, professional services related to getting those properties sold. And community development fund, we have a planner in there, which is, you know, first you get started, just kind of goes that direction. Any questions?
This, yeah. Are you panicking about those receipts?
You, I don't know if we're gonna get them or not, but that's in the street fund, so it just means we're gonna spend less on streets.
I'm talking about next year.
I know, yeah, and so we'll just have to kind of play it by ear. It seems, like I've been doing this a long time, and it seems like every year there's trepidation around forest receipts. Every couple of years, there's some concern, and they've always come through. I know that's something Biden likes to put out there and say, hey, look what I did for you guys on the forest receipts, so we'll see if he comes through again.
Thank you.
Couple. One, we had talked about doing a strategic planning, doing a strategic plan and getting a consultant on board to do that. And part of that, with that, was to bring them in and also do a goal setting, preferably before your budget, so that you have these short-term goals to get you thinking ahead for the strategic plan, but also to help us know how to budget for next year, what the priorities are. It just so happens that, they have two firms that I'm gonna bring to you in your next meeting, you to decide who you wanna go with the strategic plan, but meanwhile, I found a company, Reimer Solutions, who does a goal setting for councils. He's an ex-city administrator, gifted in this, and so I talked to, him and asked him if he would be willing to come and do a goal setting session with council. His name is Steve, and he said yes. And that the way he would do it is he would talk to all of you individually for about 30 minutes and get your ideas, your goals, what you think is a priority for the city. And then he would come together in a retreat for about 4 to 6 hours with you and establish goals, come out with some goals for the city for our budgeting. That is about a little less than $3,000 to do that, for him to come to John Day and do that, which is a steal. And so What I need from you in the next couple days, as quickly as possible, because I want to get this set up for March. Is dates and times due, or if you want to tell me right now, is Saturday off the table for sure? Like, is that an off the table thing? Or would you rather do it on a Saturday morning and do your marathon? If you want to do it on the weekend, so if you can kind of give me some parameters, that would be great, and I can get back to them, but, it's imperative that you guys all be there. And so, we want to do this as quickly as possible, but have a date you can all make it.
Anybody here that can't make it on a weekday? On the weekend?
This date you,
That's what I'm asking you.
I mean.
I'm hoping the first part of March. If not the middle part or the end part, but I don't want to go in April because then we're trying to get our budgets together and so middle of March.
Between the 10th and the 18th. For anybody?
Need to look at my calendar, not that I have my work calendar here. No, it can be anytime you guys are available. The 11th is a council meeting. I don't think you want to do that. No.
I'm kind of busy on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Friday. That's holiday, that's holy. It's not one of our holidays.
Our holidays, does anybody have a problem?
It's good work for me.
Monday, the 10th.
Can't do this. Anything else, all council, whatever.
So we're looking at possibly the 10th.
Possibly the 10th. Brad, did that work for you, Chris?
And we do it during the day or evening, afternoon, how do you want to start this sucker?
I can do it any time that day.
I'm available.
So we'll start at 8. 8 to 1-ish, the breaks or whatever, okay. I will get back to him and let him know, and if something changes, I will email you, so check your emails. I'll send a little red alert out. Eric will just have to be here. What happens when you miss a meeting? I actually think this is a good thing. I think it's gonna help, Rob and I determine budget and how we're gonna budget for you. We're also, on that note, going to try to set up a workshop for, the URA and the council. So that, we can just kind of bring you some information, hopefully give you some background and just some knowledge of where the dollars are. What's out there, hanging out there for us. Hopefully it'll be, educational for all of us. Talk to Rob, we're gonna try to do picture. I like graphs. I like to see bubbles and the money went here, and we went here. So we're gonna try to do something like that. I'm not promising anything, but we want to get you kind of set up for when we do go into budget meetings. And we'll also invite the budget committee also. Sure. Which is into my next thing is we need planning commissioners and budget committee members at, in the first way. So if you are, out in the community and you see someone who seems interested, you know, this is a great opportunity for them where they don't have to allocate a lot of their time. And yet it gets them in, you know, feeling like they've made an impact, which they have, and involved in the city and the government. So, have them come in, say, oh, got an application, let's get them appointed. We don't necessarily have to, so don't stress if you don't have the, you know, the equal number of citizens for the budget committee. Our statutory, requirement is met by trying, and we have definitely tried. I've got ads out. But it would be good to have that citizen counterpart.
Who do we have on those two committees?
Budget, I think there's 2 citizens left. I have to go check because you were on it and Brad was on it.
Each council.
So it's the same amount of council or the mayor as it is citizens. So if there's 7 here, we leave with 7 is the max. You can't have more than. Beth is on Beth spell.
I range from,
Yeah, I'd have to look, but anyway, we need some.
Yeah.
And then planning commission, again, same thing, if you all, the planning commissioners, you know, from this.
what else? Keep putting my glasses on.
So, I did send out an email, the public doesn't know this, but, to what Rob stole my thunder on, Business Oregon did, was not, and this was in November, we got our last reimbursement for our CDBG grant, which is a $2 million grant that has to be spent by, August of this year. So we have been in a frenzy, trying to spend, believe it or not, that's a funny thing, huh? Trying to spend $2 million before August. And then we would get reimbursed usually within 15 to 30, 30 days, from CDBG, and so now, but.
What is it spending on? The sewer.
The sewer, it's for the sewer project. So it's final engineering, so final design, which is easy to do because the engineer final design is about that. And then we're also in your next meeting on March 25th, well, not your next meeting, March 25th, you will have bid documents for, to procure a couple of pieces from the plant that we can procure early and have them waiting to go when we construct. And so ones like ultraviolet and headers or something. So we're trying to get that money spent. The problem is, like you all knew in your email that I sent you, we can't flip 2 million. The city's not in that position, obviously. So that was pretty scary for us when we looked and said, oh, we haven't been reimbursed. We've already spent like 250,000. We're not gonna get reimbursed for that. That's going down and our cash flow is going down. So, we were not the only city in this position. We, contacted our state reps, state legislatures, senators, the governor, and the press, and started making phone calls. And lo and behold, today I got a nice little email from Business Oregon, which apologized, and so we will be getting those reimbursements. March 3rd is the expected date. So, lobbying and calling your reps and senators and governor works. So we'll look for those. If they don't come in, we'll do another round of calling and probably contact our press again. But so that's good. We're good there. I didn't want to lose that CDBG grant. And so that is all I have here. Audit, sorry. Audit has ran into some back issues that they're trying to work out. And they are talking with Rob, and we're getting them the information they need. Nothing that is recent. It's obviously from the past 2 years. Yeah. So they're working it through. I don't know how much we can talk some of it through.
I think they just sent some questionnaires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Caused additional work on their part.
Yeah.
I think they're ready. It's
Okay.
just a matter of the amount of time they're gonna be able to spend. I know the auditor was actually out of another client site today, so.
Yeah.
Not exactly
Yeah.
dedicating lots of time.
Yeah, they're gonna get it done. It's just gonna take time. I know they're trying, I believe it's down to me like they were trying to start on next year's audit too, or the last, but
He has some finance issues. He's just making sure that.
yeah, so. We'll have it when we have it, beggars can't be choosers. These are the guys that, we had to beg for and try to get, so.
We have one proposal.
Yeah,
They think of it as
If
the
you
council
remember.
position.
and actually there are cities still in Oregon that do not have auditors. They can't find one. And so, they're rare professional service nowadays. It's hard to find auditors, so we're lucky we got this one. So we'll, stick it out and hope for the best. Yeah.
People in funding. Saying, we're not gonna make any decisions.
No, it's a retreat.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just gonna come up with goals.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not decisions. It's a goal set. So you're gonna set goals, and then those will drive the budget in the city for the next year. And you can adopt them at your net, like you'll come out with them, he'll have them for you at the, we'll give them the name, we'll give them, and you can adopt them in a council meeting.
Not long range.
No, these are like for 1 to 2 years. Your strategic planning will be your long range plan, and that will have stakeholders and the public involved. This is purely for the council. We will not have, public can come, obviously, we have to post it as a public meeting. A lot of cities councils will go to a retreat away and do this privately. But public meeting laws as they are, public can always come, so I imagine we'll just do it here, but public is not engaged. So they can listen, but this is for you. Yeah,
But you can do,
And what fund again? Is it being paid on?
it'll probably be contracted services. Probably across the board.
I didn't see contracted services.
It'll be in the goods and services.
Yeah.
And it will probably be in the professional service, professional staff.
Yeah. And it'll be percentaged out so that it's all.
I just not seeing professional services.
Right here. It's the.
That's all the stuff.
Some that when Nick Dakota goes in, planning goes in, that's professional service.
The general fund.
That would be allocated. We have a static allocation that we take to various funds
Just
because it's
yeah.
for general government services.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Council. Have we figured it out or discuss or?
Open house for the wastewater plant.
That's my other one.
Okay,
I'm looking at the flyer. And that's the same day as our city council meeting,
It
so
is.
it's all day.
It is. You
That's
don't
what
have
they
to, you don't have to be here all day. It's for the public to come in at those, you, so it's set times that you can come in and during one of those times, you can come in and you can get the little sort of thing, presentation or whatever. And then you guys will probably get some of the same thing anyway at the council meeting and for the public who can't get through the day. And then they're also gonna stay after the meeting and talk to anybody. And that's when you'll have your bid approval, your bid documents for approval for the purchase of those. The bid documents to approve the bid. Anyway. Okay, we're on a fast time schedule.
I think that'll be a good thing for the public. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, but the, camping learning. Because that's in place. Yeah,
I knew this was gonna come up. It is in place, our IGA with the sheriff is in place. We are just today, Dawn and I, Dawn mostly. Yeah, we have to signage it, so we have to go post signs, they have to be in English and Spanish. So we have to do a little thing there, state law. And so, we're prepping. The RV though, that had been tagged, and so in 72 hours, it'll be towed. Now that is gonna come out of our budget. That's us. And then we have to store it for 30 days somewhere. And then, yeah, so, well, how they tow it is up to them, but I'll get it out here. And then, once we have the camping site signed, then we can start foreseeing the people that are showing up. We just had another one show up today, so.
is sort of timeline of the repairs for, well,
Wells,
yes, that we have.
the well
budgeted
rehab,
money.
yeah, he's been working on well rehabs. I don't know where he is on that, but he is spending the money that we're rehabbing the well number 5. I think it's well number 5 is the one we had budgeted for. 5, I'm pretty sure, I thought, because we should ask Casey what was here.
Don, do you know?
Oh, the board,
Dang it.
somebody, I got an email about well number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just got our certificate to do number 5. It's
Don mentioned there's a city in that may has a plant up and running that is gonna look like ours. I'm a visual person. It'd be nice if we could have some pictures of that plant that's finished. Where is it at?
They're going to bring. They're gonna bring a 3D computerized walkthrough of our plant.
I want to see. What town is it?
Jefferson's the one.
Jefferson?
It's not gonna be exactly the same.
But so they all will have a picture though.
I can get pictures too.
But I mean, 3D.
They're gonna have a 3D of what our plant's gonna look like and you can walk through it and see it. Yeah.
Second thing is something.
March 25th. Up to the.
That's gonna be a big day.
Gonna be a good day.
Spring break.
Is it?
Yeah, the meeting. And it should not be the Tuesday that your next meeting and after your. Meeting.
Yeah, I got it.
On the cheap. Anything else?
Who's our insurance agent? Is it based?
Insurance agent,
Yeah,
which
city.
for what,
Let's see.
like CIS,
See,
CFCIS and through, BizNet. But we might. Go for an RFP or look or something,
okay.
and CIS will stay the person.
Okay. If there's no further business, I adjourn the meeting.